Okay, we're going to continue our talk on multiplying and dividing rational numbers. We're just about done with this unit, so we have this lesson and just one more on operations and properties of multiplying and dividing, and then we will be done with this portion of the unit. Alright, so on your worksheet, you won't need your math journals unless you need extra room on your paper to do math calculations. But on the worksheet, what we're going to do is you're going to start by creating a word problem involving integer multiplication. Remember, integers are whole numbers and their opposites. When you create a problem, a word problem, make sure you also come up with the answer. When you are creating your word problem, remember that you can have there's several different ways you can set it up. You can have a positive times a negative times a positive, a negative times a negative, or a positive times a positive. So when you come up with your word problem and you have it written down and solved, go ahead and continue the video. Alright, so now that you're done with that, you're going to take your word problem and you're going to modify it by replacing one of your integers with another signed number that is either a fraction or a decimal. So you can't have two integers. Now you can have an integer and a fraction, or an integer and a decimal. And you can change the signs if need be, if that works for your word problem. So you're going to rework your word problem and determine your new answer. When you're done, continue the video. Now you're going to answer question C with your own observations. There's no right or wrong answer, so just write down what do you notice between what you did in part A and what you did in part B. Alright, so now that you have that done, let's talk about, regardless of what the problem you created, you should have noticed that the process was not different between parts A and B. You multiplied two factors. One might have been positive, one negative. In this case, you would have a negative product. In the other cases, if it was a positive and a positive, you'd have a positive product, and so on and so forth. But the process of multiplication is still repeated addition, and that is the main idea, that multiplication is repeated addition. Now you're going to complete problem D. Write 3 rules that summarize each situation when multiplying signed numbers. So take into consideration all the different variations of multiplying signed numbers and come up with 3 rules that encapsulate that. When you're done, continue the video. Alright, here are some sample rules. So first of all, you want to multiply the absolute value of the two rational numbers. So it doesn't matter if they're positive or negative, take the absolute value and multiply them. Then once you've done that, you can look at the two factors and determine if they have the same sign, then the product is going to be positive. And if the two numbers or factors have opposite signs, then the product is going to be negative. Alright, so exercise 2A, go ahead and complete exercise 2A, and again you're using long division. If you have a calculator, you can check your math, but when your work is checked, make sure that you have shown a long division problem. When you're done, continue the video. Alright, so this is what you should have. If Melinda's parents spent $2,640.90 on cable in 1 year, then how much would that be per month? So again, when you spend money, that is a negative number as it relates to you. So it'd be negative $2,640.90 divided by 12, because hopefully you know there's 12 months in a year. So that would give you a negative 220 and 800ths, which when we're talking about money is a negative $220.08. Now notice you probably came out with 75 thousandths, but remember we're talking about money, so you're going to have to round it to the nearest cent. All right, are the rules for dividing rational numbers the same as the rules for dividing integers? Think about that for a second. What do you notice when you have dividing rational numbers and dividing integers? Well, you should have answered yes, they are the same. So you're going to complete exercise 2B on the worksheet, and when you're done with exercise 2B, go ahead and continue the video. A hint for you, it is very similar to the rules for multiplication. All right, so this is what you should have come up with. The rules for dividing rational numbers are the same as the rules for dividing integers. You're going to divide the absolute values of the two rational numbers like you would normally, and then you're going to look at the dividend and divisor. If they have the same sign, then the quotient is going to be positive. And if the two numbers, the dividend and divisor, have opposite signs, then the quotient is going to be negative. All right, so now do exercise 3. This is going to take you a little bit longer. So once you are done with exercise 3 in its entirety, then go ahead and continue the video so you can check the answers. All right, so here's exercise 3. You had to fill in the chart and then use that information to answer the following questions. For part A, if she had to write a check, again, that is a negative amount to Tamara, so that would be negative $4.25 times 2 is a negative $8.50. Now notice the numerical answer is minus $8.50, but the explanation, you drop the negative sign because the word deduct is going to take the place of that. So Tamara will need to deduct or subtract $8.50 from her checking account balance. All right, Mr. Clark wants to pay for his order with a $20 bill, but Jeremy doesn't have change, so Jeremy tells Mr. Clark he will give him change later. How does this affect the total money that Jeremy collects? What rational number expresses or represents the change that must be made to the money Jeremy collects? So if you have $2.25 times 5, that would be $11.25. But because you have a $20 bill and you subtract the $11.25, then that means the amount left over is $8.75. So the numerical answer is negative $8.75 because Jeremy collected too much money. He owes Mr. Clark, so the owing of the money to Mr. Clark is minus $8.75, so the adjustment Jeremy needs to make is a negative $8.75. All right, we have Jeremy's sister who borrowed some money, so that is minus $2.50 divided by 5 means that the numerical answer is negative 50 cents. So she's going to lose 50 cents of her allowance each week. Okay, so the negative sign is replaced by the word lose. And the last problem, we have Jeremy's grandparents. That would be $3.75 times 4 is $15, and $3.75 times 3 is $11.25. The new order is $3.75 times 3 plus $2.25, which equals $11.25 plus $2.25, and the total is $13.50. Then when you subtract that, $15 minus $13.50, you get $1.50. So the numerical answer is a positive answer, and Jeremy's grandparents will get back $1.50, so that's positive for them, since the change in their order made it cheaper. So since they changed their order and made it cheaper, they're going to get $1.50 back. All right, for part E, you have a division problem. $14.40 divided by 3 is equal to $4.80. So that's the numerical answer. And then again, the explanation, please make sure you are practicing this. You're taking the answer and writing it in a sentence that explains what is going on. So the average cash donation will be $4.80 per person. For the last one is a division, a long division problem. Your answer is $12.27. Notice that it keeps going, but since the context is money, you work out the problem to the thousandth spot and then round to the hundredth spot. So you should have had 12.272, which is 12.27. And the explanation, the average sale is about $12.27. All right, to wrap up, this you can do in your math journal because it's always good to summarize what we've been working on. It will help with your assessment, which is coming up. So when answering word problems today about the Grimes Middle School Flower Fundraiser, how did you know whether to multiply or divide? So kind of looking back and deciding what words maybe triggered you to understand if you were going to multiply or divide. And how did you know whether to express your answer as a positive or negative number? That is going to be key. So make sure you understand that when you answer, how are you going to answer that when you have to write it in an explanation? And in general, how does the context of a word problem indicate whether you should multiply or divide? And how will your answer be stated? So again, taking a look at the difference between the numerical answer and how is that going to be stated in a sentence when you are explaining what your answer is. All right, we'll see you in class.